In Part 10 for the 613 Commandments of Torah, we will examine some of the positive mitzvah surrounding Pesach, Passover, while the negative commandments will center on the Torah's ongoing theme of idolatry. The positive commandment, removing all hametz, leavened food, starting on the 14th of Nisan. Moshe is instructed by Hashem to ensure that the day before the beginning of Pesach, all leavened foods must be nullified from our homes. For a 7-day period you eat matzos, but on the previous day you shall nullify the leaven from your homes. For anyone who bears leavened food, that soul shall be cut off from Israel from the 1st day to the 7th day. Shemot, Exodus 12, verse 15. According to the oral Torah, that day is the 14th of the month of Nisan. To nullify literally means to destroy, not give to others to hold or bury under the ground. That is why in some Jewish communities all hametz is brought to a central location and burned. In areas where burning is not allowed, removal in trash bins that will be picked up and removed from the property before the 1st day of Pesach is allowed. Any hametz undiscovered and unknown in the intensive search of one's home is rendered null and void in the heart of the occupants of that home, and if found later by chance, it is considered of no use whatsoever and burned or discarded as already stated. The positive commandment to eat matzah, unleavened bread, beginning the 1st night of Pesach to the end of the festival. In the 1st month, on the 14th day of the month in the evening, shall you eat matzos until the 21st day of the month in the evening. Shemot 12, verse 18. Now this matzos must also meet certain criteria. It needs to be the product of grains coming from wheat, barley, spelt, oats, or rye. Where do we get this idea that only these grain types can be used for matzos? By looking at the commands concerning the removal of all hametz before Pesach begins, we see that the Torah sets up a binary. If something can become hametz, it can be matzah. If it cannot become hametz, it cannot fulfill the mitzvah. Therefore, from this, the Chazal decided on these particular grain types for use in making matzos. The Mishnah states this explicitly. These are the things that come to hametz: wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye. Mishnah Pesachim 2, verse 5. And this immediately limits the field. Rice and millet do not come to hametz, but to sirin, decay. This is the key move. Hametz is fermentation. Rice, corn, legumes, and the like rot, but do not ferment in the halakhic sense. No hametz equals no matzah. Game over for corn tortillas. Sorry. In Part 11 of this series, we will examine the importance of annually telling about the Exodus out of Egypt in relationship to Pesach, and why we are commanded to do no work on the 1st day of Pesach. But now, let's go into one of the negative commandments related to idolatry, something our forefathers faced head-on soon after their exodus out of Egypt. The negative commandment, do not entice anyone who is a Jew to worship an idol. One of the first things that happened soon after our ancestors crossed over the Sea of Reeds and entered the wilderness of Sinai was some of their fellow Jews encouraging them to worship a false Elohim in the form of a golden calf. Devarim, Deuteronomy 13, beginning with verse 7, is very specific. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is like your own soul, will entice you secretly, saying, Let us go and worship the Elohim of others, that you did not know, you or your forefathers, from the Elohim of the peoples that are around you, those near you, or those far from you, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, you shall not accede to him and not hearken to him. You shall surely kill him. You shall not be compassionate, nor conceal him. Rather, you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be the first against him to kill him, and the hand of the entire people afterwards. You shall pelt him with stones, and he shall die, for he sought to make you stray from near Hashem, your Elohim, who takes you out of Egypt, from the house of slavery. All Israel shall hear and fear, and they shall not again do such an evil, abominable thing in your midst. If you ever wondered Hashem's attitude about the practice of idolatry, I think with this commandment it is quite clear. Sadly, Korach and many who followed his lead found out for themselves just how serious Hashem is about this. Today, we do not just willy-nilly accuse someone of idolatry. If someone does fall into the criteria set forth in those verses just quoted, he shall be brought before the Sanhedrin, which does not exist at the moment in our time, or the existing rabbinic ruling body of the day, and in the presence of 2 or more witnesses who lay such a charge, the offender will be found guilty or not guilty according to the evidence. Today, the one found guilty is not stoned, but is permanently exiled, excommunicated from among his people Israel, his family and friends. It would be as if he or she never existed. For most of us Jews, that is a fate worse than death of the physical body. Thank you so much for following this continued series on the 613 Commandments of Torah. Hashem willing, we will continue with part 11 next week. Please like, subscribe, and share this with others so they too can learn and benefit from the richness of the Torah. Find more of my works on Rumble, YouTube, Locals, Substack, and Blogger. Leave comments below, or you can contact me via email to shmu@startmail.com. Until next time, this is Shmuel ben Shlomi wishing you shalom.